We'll chant Om 3 times, followed by the invocation shlokas. Inhale deeply. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunektu Sah Veeryan Bhavavahai Tejasvi Namadidamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om
Om Shanti
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 Shanti.
Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om. Good evening, everyone. So we are covering the second. What happened to my screen? Sorry about that. Yeah. So we are covering that Bhajago, sorry, Upadesha Sara. And because it is Upadesha Sara, we will chant the Mangala Charanam for the Upadesha Sara. Antaryascha bahirvidhutatimiram
Antaryach pahi vidhurutimiryam.
Antaryascha
Antaryacha bahi bahir vidhuta
timiram Jyotirmayam
Jyotirmayam
Shashvatam. Okay. Then when we come to the third line, we'll break it down again. Antaryascha bahirvidhutatimiram.
Antaryacha bahir vidhutamiram
Jyotirmayam Shashvatam.
Jyotirmayam Shashvatam.
Sthanam prapya virajate vinamatam.
Sthanam prapte virajite vinamatam.
Ajnanam unmulayan. Okay, 3 words.
Ajnanam
Unmulayan. Ajnanam unmulayan.
Mulyanan.
This is the more little bit challenging.
Yeah.
Pashyan. Vishwam.
Vishwam.
Apidam. Ullasati. Pashyan. Vishwam. Apidam. Ullasati. Pashyan Vishwam Apidam Ullasati.
Okay.
Pashyan Vishwam Apidam Ullasati yo.
Pashvam Vishmatu Ullasati.
Yo
Yo
Vishwasya pare paraha
Vishvasya Pare Paraha.
Tasmai Shri Ramanaya Loka Gurave
Tasme Shri Ramanaya Loka Guruve.
Shokasya Hantre Namaha.
Shokasya Hantre Namaha.
So in the last session, we completed the third marga, which is the
Yoga.
yoga marga, right? So the summary is one who is a Utkrishta yogi, okay, who has accomplished Manonasha, okay. Then such a he uh, he is very peaceful, okay? And the person who did not uh, do this, okay, who is not there yet, who is only doing pranayama, he is considered as Nikrushta yogi. Nikrushta yogi, he is still on the path, okay. So one is who has reached a destination, the other is who has started the walk, okay. So now what happens is that in especially like in pranayama, like when you are meditating, okay. So in meditation, especially through this yoga marga, sometimes people wonder, am I meditating or am I sleeping? Was I sleeping or was I meditating? I don't know. It was calm and I wasn't aware of myself. Now, when you have this kind of a feeling, okay, I mean, especially like if you have the habit of waking up early and doing this meditation, but you are getting this feeling repeatedly, what it means is that the mind has gone to what we call as Jada Samadhi. Samadhi, but it is Jada. Jada means it is Samadhi of the nature of inertia. Okay? Because what happens is that you have done some kind of a pranayama, okay? Whether it is prana vikshana means just observance of every inhalation and exhalation. Okay? So whether, or you probably did active kumbhaka, active purakam and rechakam and all of that, right? So either that kind of pranayama or regular kind of pranayama, when you do that, what happens is that mind becomes calm. And when mind becomes calm and it slips into inertia, the slipping of mind is considered as Jada Samadhi. No, when you hear the word slipping of the mind, don't think that it is something bad. No. Okay. So slipping of the mind doesn't mean that the seeker is falling down. No. Okay. The thing is that the mind is getting used to the quietude and it is adapting to this mode. Okay. And this experience of the state, oh, I knew nothing. Okay. I was in meditation and I did not know anything. So this can persist for a long duration. Now, if you're not practicing, okay, if we are not practicing like asanas, etc., after 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, whenever our feet begins to hurt, like our blood circulation stops, and then we say like, oh yeah, there's pain, and then we need to get up. But if for a yogis who actually practiced proper asanas and who have better control on their body, for them, this experience of this Jada Samadhi can last for many hours also. Okay. So we don't know if it is meditation or sleep. When you get up from this state, you don't know if you're meditating or not. So now this, from a Vedantic perspective, it is not meditation. Okay. You're not sleeping, true, but it is not meditation either. This is what you call as a type of manolaya. Okay. Now, what this what Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi ji is saying is that when that happens, okay, so when that happens means, he said, Laya Vinashane Ubhaya Rodhane Layagatam Punar Bhavati No Mrutam in 13th shloka. So what he said is that this Layagatam, okay, when Laya happens, Okay? It Manolaya happens, you will wake up again. But when Laya Vinasha, like Manonasha happens, then you are not going to wake up. So now, I mean, like when the mind is not going to come back again. So what we need to do is, what he said is in the next shloka, he said, Pranabandhanat liyamanasam ekachintanat nashametyataha. So he said, ekachintana has to be given. So what we should do, as soon as the mind goes to the state of manolaya, we should wake it up and give it ekachintana. Ekachintana means the chintana of I am same as Brahman. Okay, that thought has to be given, and mind has to revel in that thought alone. And now when it is reveling into it in that again, your indriyas, meaning your external organs of senses or even mind, etc., they are not capturing anything else. So again, you may tend to go back to this manolaya. So this Manolaya, basically what it means is that from a Vedanta perspective, it is essentially a dissolution of mind into Karana Sharira or a causal body. So we had to again wake it up and give this Ekachintana. So meditation, the way we think about is the practice of, okay, absence of the indriyas, okay, while we are awake without the mind going to sleep. So now we actually when we used to have the in-person sessions in Dover, we used to do a practice called Yoga Nidra, okay, in Seacoast Dover Center, right? Uh, and where the mind goes to a type of manolaya, after which, because like I used to give instructions all along, and the participants would be lying down on the floor and they would follow all the instructions, and they're not actually sleeping, but after this yoga nidra is done, okay, which is not nidra, actually not sleeping, okay, they would get up very fresh. Okay, so now, so that's what Manolaya is. If were either of you part of that Yoga Nidra ever, Arulji or Manisha?
I was all
Ah,
the sessions.
No.
ah, okay. So yeah, it was long time ago, so I don't recall if you were there. So this, when that kind of a state is achieved, so now Bhagavan is saying that, Ramana Maharshi is saying that, give it ekachintana. So that ekachintana, when it is given, what happens is then the mind is not temporarily dissolved, but it is permanently destroyed. Okay, so when that happens, he says that nashtamanaso utkrishta yoginaha katrutyamati kim swasthita yataha. So yataha means, okay, one who reached, okay, one who reached of this true nature of this swasthiti. Okay, so one who gained, for him, for such a yogi, what else is there to be done? Because whenever we are born to do something. What are we trying to do? At the minimum, okay, at the minimum, we get rid of our uh, karma phala. What karma phala? The prarabdha karma phala. We want to get rid of. Okay. Now, in addition to that, we don't want to, hopefully, we don't want to add more to our karma phala. How are we going to do that? How is that possible? By practicing karma yoga. Okay. Then, if you want to totally like avoid being born again and again, we should get out of this samsara. So that is our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal is moksha. Now, once you reach that moksha, what else is there to do? Nothing. Okay. So here, when this destruction of this mind, okay, is being equated to, because when the mind is not there, then like you become one with God. That is the idea. That's what this is what it is saying. Okay. So now, if you are a practitioner of Ashtanga Yoga, like let's say, oh, I do daily like pranayama. As part of this, um, I'm going to do this purakam, kumbhakam, and rechakam, etc. Right? Like that, if you're doing that, what Swami Advanandaji was saying was that because, like, at least in our class, there were quite a few people who came from Ashtanga Yoga background. Okay, so they came from the yoga background. So for their sake, he was saying that during Puraka, that is when you're inhaling, have the thought, who am I? During Kumbhaka, okay, when you're holding the breath, have the thought, soham, meaning first one is have the thought koham. Koham means who am I? When you do the kumbhaka, say soham, meaning I am that, meaning I am Brahman. And then when you are exhaling, rechakam, have the thought naham. Naham meaning I am not jiva. So I am Brahman, I am not this jiva. So if you are doing that, then it is going to add a lot more value to pranayama itself. That's what our Swamiji, Swami Advanandaji was telling in our class. I just want to share that to you. Okay. So now in Karma Yoga, right? Whether it is Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, or this Ashtanga Yoga, okay, the goal is Mukti. And Karma Yoga was also leading to Mukti. When it said Ishwararpitam Nechyakutam Chitta Shodakam Mukti Sadhakam. Mukti Sadhakam means this is the path for Mukti. Knowledge of the self, okay, comes because of purity of mind through the grace of the Lord when we perform all our actions with the attitude of Karma Yoga. Now in Bhakti Yoga, there was a shloka which said, Bheda Bhavanat Sohamityaso Bhavana Abhida Bhavani Mata. So that means Bhavana Abhida. So there is Bhavana, there is a feeling that Abhida, that means I am not different from Bhagavan. So that is Bhakti Yoga, and that led to Mukti. Okay. Now in Ashtanga Yoga, it said, Drishyavaritam Chittamatmana Chittva Darshanam Tattva Darshanam. Actually, no, we didn't cover the shloka. We need to cover that shloka. Okay. So that is the Ashtanga Yoga. So that will come now. Okay. And so in all the paths, the knowledge of self is leading to the same destination. So if you go to temple towns, okay, like I'm talking about like big temples, like say in Tirupati or what is it? Where is it? Meenakshi, Madurai, okay, Madurai temple or Arunachalam temple, okay, especially South Indian temples, because in North India I haven't seen that much. Meaning, like I haven't traveled much to North India, number one. And second is that the places where I traveled to, those temples were relatively smaller because of the terrain, etc. So they did not have. But in temple towns, the majority of the temples, right? I mean, like big temples, they have 4 different entrances into the temple from 4 sides. So the idea is that temple is the center of life. Okay, life in that village or in that town. So that temple is established right in the center, and anybody can come into temple from any direction. So there'll be east gate, west gate, north gate, south gate, like that. Like you have 4 different gates to at all major temples. Okay, when if the temple is constructed according to the Shastras, right? So now the thing though is that even though there are 4 entrances, when you want to when you want to go and see the Bhagwan, that the entrance to the Garbhagudi, right? the inner sanctum, there's only one entrance. Okay, so in the same way, there are 4 paths: karma marga, jnana marga, yoga marga, and bhakti marga. All 4 margas are there, but the final entrance into Garbhagudi is this mukti sadhana of karma yoga, or abheda bhavana of bhakti yoga, or eka chintana of the yoga, Ashtanga yoga, right? So there's only one path. So this final doorway is what we call as Tattva Darshanam. So that is something that we are going to see. Okay. So again, in all paths, what is the biggest role is sincerity and dedication to God with full conviction, depth of the feeling. Okay, like with full conviction that, okay, I am one with him or one with God. Okay, that kind of a thought must be there, and that love for God should be there. As long as without love for God, no path is going to be helpful. Okay, so any questions before we go to the next shloka? Shloka number 16. Okay, so we will chant shloka number 16. So I'll break down the words. Drushya Varitam. Okay, so together it is Drushya Varitam. Drushya and Varitam are 2 different words. Chittam Atmanaha. So that is Chittam and Atmanaha. Okay. Chitva Darshanam. Okay. Chitva Darshanam. Tattva Darshanam. Okay. So Chitva Darshanam, Tattva Darshanam. So here, so let's chant the shloka. Okay, one of you go off. Okay. Drishyavaritam chittamatmanaha
दृश्यवारितं चित्ममात्मना
chittvadarsanam tattvadarsanam.
चित्वदर्शनं तत्वदर्शनम्.
So, chittam means mind. Okay, so here now in Vedanta, when we study, right, like if you study Tattva Bodha or our Dugdisha Viveka, etc., like a standard Vedanta text like Shankaracharya Ji's or any of those, from that parampara, usually we differentiate between mind, intellect, ego, and memory. So we say manas, buddhi, chitta, and ahankara. Now, Ramana Maharshi ji, in principle, he's an Advaita Vedanta. Okay? In principle, he's Advaita Vedanta. Now, the thing though is that he did not study any of the scriptures. Okay? When he realized, at the time of his realization, at least in this lifetime, he did not study many scriptures. Or like Vedas or Vedanta, etc. He did not study. Okay? His bhakti alone took him there. But after realization, whatever the essence of the Vedanta is there for him. So any jnani, whether they are bhaktas, okay, you call them as bhaktas, or you call them as devotees, the jnanis, etc., they all understand the true nature of themselves. Because they understand the true nature of themselves, they understand the essence of entire Vedanta. Now, whether it is Upanishads, whether it is Gita, whether there are like Prakarana Granthas, Brahma Sutras, it doesn't matter. Okay, they understand that. Now, what happens though is that because they may not have studied this Vedanta, they may not use the right terms, no, not right terms, I cannot use the right term, but the same terms has established in standard Vedanta where you learn step by step. Okay, so that is why words here may mean different. Okay, so a little bit of a translation we need to understand. So when he says chittam, okay, chittam, mind, understand that it is mind plus intellect at the minimum, and sometimes it may include, okay, the manas, buddhi, chitta, and ahankara, all four. Okay, because from a Vedantic perspective, when say mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, chitta is simply memories. Okay, whereas here, my chittam is talking about mind. Okay, which is mind and intellect together. Okay, the entire antakarana for that matter, all four. Manas, mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. Okay, so chittam here is again entire antakarana. So Drishyavaritam Chittam. Drishya means seen, right? Drishya means whatever you can see is Drishyam, right? Whatever is visible outside. Whatever is visible outside means what? Is it only specific to eyes? No, no, no. We are talking about everything that is perceived through all five senses of organs. Okay, this is Pancha Jnanendriyas, and whatever is can be cognized by mind, whatever can be experienced by mind. Say, for example, you can close your eyes, okay, and I mean, you can't close your nose and live longer, but basically, like there are no smells, okay. You lock up yourself where there are no smells, and you close your eyes, and it is a what you call like a uh, insulated room, so there is no sounds. So you closed your mouth, so there's no taste, and you're sitting, and the environment is so quiet that there's no your physical sharira, the physical body is also not experiencing much. So that means that all pancha jnanendriyas, all five jnanendriyas are in a quiet. Now you close your eyes. Then what? Just because you close your eyes, there are no, it is not like there are no thoughts. The thoughts are coming from the past. And who is thinking those thoughts? The mind is experiencing those thoughts. So, okay. And you, because you're sitting, all your karmendriyas, right? So they are all also quiet because your hands are quiet, your legs are quiet, like that. Pretty much everything is quiet there too. But so Drishyam means even that experience of those thoughts, experience of those feelings. Ah, this is so right now. I love it. Even that is a thought and that is an experience. So that experience, okay. So this drishya, okay. Varita means when it is withdrawn. Okay. Varita means absence. So drishya varita means what it is saying is all five organs of actions, pancha jnanendriyas, are shut down. Shut down means they are withdrawn. Okay? Pancha karmendriyas, they are also withdrawn. Mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, that is also withdrawn. Okay? Then what happens? This, when that is possible, okay, drishyavaritam, okay, then you get Chitva darshanam, which is tattva darshanam. Tattva darshanam means you will know your true nature. Now, but unfortunately, what happens is many a times when like this everything is quiet, even if you woke up just then after good night's sleep, mind is not used to no thoughts. Because mind is not used to no thoughts, it knows only one thing. Oh, okay, no thoughts. That means it is time for me to go to sleep. And it may dissolve into karna sharira as sleep. So this is a challenge that many of us will have during the early stages of meditation, because all day long we are used to doing 100 things at a time. Mind is it is talking with you and it is thinking about what to say next, and suddenly it is also remembering that okay, after this I had to go somewhere, and like that, like mind is busy with 100 things at any given time and not doing justice to any of those. That's a different story. But all of a sudden when all of them are shut down, it thinks that okay, it is time for me to go to bed. So that's why Drushya abhave, nidra abhave, antarmukhata. Okay. So there is a saying that this not only it is drushya abhava. Abhava means like absence. Okay. It is not only the absence of drushya, meaning experiences from external world, okay, including our mind, but nidra abhave also. Okay, you should you should not be devoid of sleep also, absence of sleep also. That is the goal. Okay, so now how do we define? So now to understand all of this, right? Let us understand a little bit, right? How do we define mind? We say that according to the definition, we say flow of thoughts is mind. Okay, flow of thoughts is mind. Do you agree with that? Okay. So now, what is a thought? A thought is you are aware of an object. You're aware of an object like, okay, so this is a pen. My awareness of this is a pen is a thought. Now, also, because if I'm closing my eyes, I'm not seeing anything, but suddenly I have become aware of a thing that happened in the past, a memory. Okay? So and so met me at that function. So that's it. That's a thought. So that means awareness of an event that happened. Or it could be even awareness of some abstract idea. I think for this particular project, I need to break this project into 4 phases. Okay. So this is again awareness of an idea. So thought has got 2 parts. An object is there and you're aware of that object. Okay. So when we say object, you understood as that object also can be physical or an event that happened in the past or an event that can happen in the all of that, right? That so now thought equals, you can put, if you write an equation, thought equals consciousness plus object. Okay, thought is equals consciousness plus object. Now then what is consciousness in mathematical terms? You have to move object from right hand side to left hand side. Okay, so then what happens? Consciousness becomes thought minus object. Okay. That means a thought devoid of object, meaning just awareness without any object. That is consciousness. Okay, awareness without any thought, awareness of lack of thought, or awareness of lack of objects. This is what you call as drushya varidam chittam. Okay, so this drushya varidam chittam atmanaha. Okay, in atma, we must do this. Okay, atmanaha chitva darshanaha. So, what happened here? When that objects are taken away from thoughts, all the drishya has ceased. Whatever remaining is consciousness alone. That consciousness, the experience of that consciousness is called as chit, because consciousness we call it as chit. So conscious experience of that consciousness is chitva darshanam. Now we need to be very careful here. Oh, I have no thoughts. I'm experiencing consciousness. That itself is a thought with an idea that I am experiencing. Then that is not Chitva Darshanam. That is Ahankara Darshanam. Okay? Why? Because the one who is thinking is ahankara. Okay, because of that. So even that thought that I am experiencing something should also be not there. Just mind is awake and alert, and there are no thoughts. Okay, that is Chitva Darshanam. And understand that the text. But now that Chitva is nothing other than what we call as Chaitanya, Satchitananda, the Chit aspect of Satchitananda. What is that? That alone is Brahman. Sat is Brahman, Chit is Brahman, Ananda is Brahman, Satchitananda are like three different attributes we say, but they're not three different attributes. Sat is same as Chit, Chit is same as Ananda, Ananda is same as Brahman, Brahman is same as you. Okay? So that experience of the Chaitanya or Chit itself is Tattva Darshanam. Tat means that. Okay? That we're talking about Brahma Darshanam. That is the experience of the ultimate reality. Okay? I'll pause here to see if you have any questions.
It's very clear, Venkatji. Thank you.
Now, Bhagwan is shifting the attention to Vichara Marga. Vichara Marga meaning Jnana Marga. Now, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi is well known for Jnana Marga. Okay. Now, but his style of teaching is very different from others' teachings. Okay. So, in our standard Vedanta, which is taught by Shankaracharya ji and his disciples, I mean, like in that lineage, right? Whether it is Vidyaranya Swami ji or any of the texts that we take, many of them, what they do is that they want to help you come up. So what they do is they will come down to your level. Okay? So the teacher comes down to students' level and they start from there. Now, Ramana Maharshi ji is a different type of teacher. He, just like his lifestyle, where he doesn't go anywhere, instead people come to him. Okay? Even in his teachings, he wants his students to come to his level. Okay? So, now, so because other teachers, what they do, because they come to our level first, what they do is in our Vedanta teaching, there are two aspects. Okay? What we call as Adhyaropa and Apavada. Adhyaropa is something like this. So there is Brahman and then there is Maya. Okay? That is the beginning part. And then later on, as you're studying, Apavada means negation. What is negated? Maya is negated. There is no Maya. So that means what? This Brahman alone is there. So this idea that there is Brahman and Maya is taught because why? Because if you tell student that Brahman alone is there, Maya is not there, then so student refuses to accept that two things. I cannot be God, okay? I cannot be Brahman, and I exist. Okay? Two things, okay? I cannot be God. Okay? As a layman, I say, I cannot be God. And if you say there is nothing other than Brahman, I am there. I am other than Brahman. Okay? So it is difficult for student to understand. So then what happens? That's why teacher says, okay, Brahman is also there. You are also there. Let us start there. And then as you're studying about Brahman more and more, you realize that what you think you are is not really anything different from Brahman. So then this negation of me being different from Brahman, that is called apavada. Okay? So we are saying two things. Okay? And later on you are saying this second thing is not there. So one alone is there. This is the standard teacher's teaching. Now, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi, as I said, he doesn't come to our level. He wants us to go to his level. So what he says, he just says, you are not there. Okay. He directly says, you are not there. So what do you mean you are not there? Okay. So that's what, because when we say I, as a lay person, we identify ourselves primarily with our mind. Okay. It is very easy to say, this is my body, but it is very difficult to say, this is my mind. Because the one who is saying, this is my mind, is also the part of same antakarana. The ahankara itself is saying, this is my mind. But ahankara, even if I say, I had to negate my mind, who is saying that? That is also said by ahankara only. So because of that, it is very difficult for us. Okay. So that's why it takes a little bit of uh, following this path. Ramana Maharshi's path takes enormous amount of previous sadhana. Okay. So just this is a effort. Okay. So, now we'll go to the next shloka. Okay. These words are simple. Manasam tu kim margane krute naiva manasam marga archavat. So please repeat after me. Manasam tu kim margane krute
Manasam Manasam tu kim margane krite
naiva manasam marga archavat.
Nevamar Manasam Marga Arjava Vatah.
Archavat. Okay. So see, what happened is that, we studied so far, we studied three paths: Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. So, in all these three paths, what was the first thing? What was the problem? Okay. In all these paths, mind was said as problem. So, the problem has to be solved first. So, now in Karma Yoga, what do we say? Karma Yoga, mind is the problem. So what is the solution? You start Ishvara Arpitam Nechaya Krutam. Means whatever you did, offer it to Bhagavan. So that mind is subdued. In Bhakti Yoga, what? Mind is problem again. So what is the solution? Abheda Bhavana. Abheda Bhavana, I am not different from God. Okay, so that way start thinking. So that way mind is uh, controlled and like diminished. In Ashtanga Yoga, what? Mind is the problem. So how are we solving the problem? We start with pranayama and do manolaya and eventually the
Ek Chintana.
manonashana. Huh? So these are all we are doing there. So on all those paths. Now here, he's saying in this path, he's asking a question. If you check Manasam to Kim, what is this mind? Let us check. Okay. When you check Margane Krute, so that means that now Manasam, two means, now here it represent two means but. Okay, so that means that it is a new topic. Okay, so it is representing a change of topic. So Manasatam Kim, what is this Manas? And when you inquire about it, mind itself will not be there. When there is no mind, which mind do you want to correct? Which mind do you want to control? Okay, so again, this is again like the essence of Vedanta, but it's in a unique style of Ramana Maharshi ji. Okay. Now, what happens is Naiva Manasa Marga Archavat. So that means now this Marga Nekrita means you have to explore. Okay. Now, when you are exploring, okay, this Marga, this path is a direct path. Arjava. Arjava means straightforward. Okay. It's a straightforward path. What happens when you start observing the mind itself is not there. Okay, when is the mind there? When I don't observe the mind. Now, this is kind of like a nice theory, Venkat, you can say, but it is not a theory proposed by me. It is a fact that is experienced by Ramana Maharshi ji, that is experienced by not just Ramana Maharshi ji, but all our saints. And that's why you see, the thing is that like Chimra mission, we follow the Advaita Vedanta as taught by Shankaracharya ji. But so that means that Vidyaranya Swami books we'll study, all Shankaracharya's Advaita Vedanta books we study. Now, Ramana Maharshi ji never said that I'm a student of Advaita, I'm a student of Shankaracharya ji or one of his Shishyas. But we don't have any hesitation taking Ramana Maharshi's lessons simply because it is pure Advaita Vedanta. Okay? So here he's saying that, and whatever he said is true. So when he says that Naiva Manasam, when you observe your mind, then there is no mind, he's saying it out of experience, and that experience is true for all our realized masters of our Guru Parampara. So that's why we don't have any, this is not a theory. Now, when you listen, like when you hear that, oh, when you inquire about mind is not there, we cannot really understand that. Only when we start exploring it personally, this becomes straight path, okay? And anything that is straight is the shortest path, okay? So now how do I inquire? Okay? How do I inquire? Just close your eyes and inquire about the mind. What is this mind? Where exactly in me is this mind? What is the nature of this mind? Just ask. Just look. The moment I search for the mind, it goes away. And just stay in this state deeper and deeper. That's what Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi ji says. So that's why, right? One of his most famous books is Who Am I? So whenever someone comes and says, Bhagwan, I have a question, you would simply ask, who are you? Or who is asking this question? Oh, I am Venkat. Okay, I came from Boston. Okay, that's where you came from. Okay, I'm Venkat. That is your name, but who are you? That is just a name that is given by your parents. Okay, but who are you? Now, when that kind of a question is asked, you get a little bit of a frazzled. What do you mean by, I never thought about it. Who am I? Oh, yeah, you know what? I am I work in IT. That is your profession, but who are you? You maybe are working in IT today, maybe in some other department or some other profession tomorrow, but who are you? Oh, I'm a male. But that is just your gender. Okay, but who are you? I am a child of my parents, but that is just birth. Okay, but who are you? Okay, so I cannot talk about my caste, I cannot talk about my religion, I cannot talk about my location, I cannot talk about my profession, I cannot talk about my education, I cannot talk about how old, because when you say, yeah, like I'm this much age, he said that is just your age, but who are you again, right? So I cannot talk about age. Like that, if I remove each of those things, right? All my intellect is based upon my knowledge of something that I have studied. So that intellect is negated. The thoughts are negated. The mind is negated. Body is negated. What I am, who am I? So when you start searching, right, that who are you in that question alone, it is said that some of his disciples, because they are in the presence of the great Mahatma and they probably have done enough tapas, that when he asked who are you, it is said that they got liberation. It's like they got Jivan Mukta, they became Jivan Muktas right then and there. Okay. So, but our cases are different, of course. Okay? But in the same way, what is this mind? When we start looking for this mind, it just goes away. So now what happens is that our Swamiji gave a very interesting example. You see, sun, okay? Sun has the rays, okay? Now, these rays are coming, and now if they hit a surface of something, right, smooth surface, it goes back, okay? It reflects and heads back. So, this mind is also like the rays of the self. At the moment of inquiry, all those rays go back into the self. The moment we inquire about the mind, all the thoughts merge back into consciousness. So it is said you had to be self-centered. Okay, so this is not the self-centered that we use in our day-to-day usage, right? Not being that selfish kind of thing, but it is focus on the nature of self and the nature of mind, and the mind disappears. And this is the direct path, and as a result, the solution is immediate. This can be practiced by us right now very easily. However, the biggest challenge is that during this inquiry, the moment I am not alert, the mind comes back. And I have dropped the question. Why? Because the purity of mind, when it is not there, okay, our level of alertness will be low. Okay, so I have to stay alert, questioning who am I? Okay, because even the essence of the entire Vedanta is when towards the end of Shankaracharya ji, one of his disciples asked, Bhagavan, you wrote so many books, Vivek Chudamani, Atma Bodha, Tattva Bodha, okay, and so many stotras, etc. Right? So, how do you summarize this entire Vedanta? He said, Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahma va Naparaha. Right? So, that's all. So, whatever is Brahman alone is truth. Okay? Jagat is Mithya. Okay? Fallacy. Meaning like entire thing, everything that I see all around is fallacy. Now, for us to experience that, we need to come to go through so many texts, etc. So here also, the solution that Bhagavan is giving is very simple, very straightforward, yet practicing requires little bit of alertness. Okay, not little bit, lot of alertness. Okay, to ask the question, who am I, or who is this mind, and stay there, stay focused there. And as long as you're looking at the mind disappears. Okay. So I'll pause here to see if you have any questions. If there are no questions, can we close for the day?
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ Thank you all. See you next week.